Now that we have a better understanding of the concept of noise, we'll be working with the sharpening settings in the detail adjustment panel. Before we get started, let's zoom into this image using a magnification ratio of 4:1. Also make sure that the ring occupies the center of the preview area. You'll notice that in addition to our image in the preview area here, we also have a smaller preview in the detail adjustment panel. And we can navigate around in here as well. Now, to increase the sharpness of this image, we need to increase the level of noise in this image. That's exactly what the amount slider here will do for us. If you slide the amount slider to the right, you increase the noise level in this image. And right away, you can see that it becomes a lot sharper. Okay, so this is before and this is after. We can zoom back out to see the difference as well. Okay, so this is before. Just pay attention to the details in the ring. And this is after. So you can see that it did sharpen it up quite a bit. Now, if we sharpen it too much, it creates very defined white lines in the hand. And we do want to avoid that. And this is the reason it's important to be careful on how much noise is applied, especially with portraits. Noise can sometimes make skin pores look a little bit too defined, and that's not a good thing. So for this reason, we'll bring the noise back down just a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Now the next slider we have here is the radius. To better understand the role of the radius setting, hold the Option key if you're on a Mac or the Alt key if you're on a Windows machine. Okay, so make sure you're holding the key down. Now drag the radius slider to the right. This is a handy tool and it allows us to see the edges of our image. The edge is where any given highlight meets a shadow. So intense lights and darks produce much more pronounced edges. The sharpen setting actually sharpens in the form of a gradient extending outward from the edges of our image. The radius defines how many pixels outside of the edge the sharpening effect can travel. So for example, a radius of 3 will extend the sharpening effect. It extends it 3 pixels outside the edge of our image. So you can see the difference there. So a higher radius will definitely produce a more dramatic effect for you. Now let go of the Option and Alt key and drag the radius slider all the way to the left. Okay, now drag it all the way to the right. So you can see the difference there. Definitely more noise when we drag the radius all the way to the right. Now the detail slider controls the amount of sharpening on the details of the image. A smaller value will sharpen only very large predominant edges, whereas a large value will apply the sharpening effect to even smaller edges. And to test this, you can move the slider from the left and now drag it all the way to the right. You'll notice a much more dramatic effect when the slider is set to 100 instead of a lower number. The masking slider allows us to specify exactly which areas should be sharpened or excluded. And before we take a look at this setting, go ahead and revert to the fit magnification. Now hold the Option or Alt key again and drag the masking slider to the right. You'll notice that when we drag the image slider to the left, the image becomes highlighted in white. The white areas indicate where the sharpening effect will be applied, whereas the black areas indicate where the sharpening effect will be excluded. So to make the sharpening effect less dramatic, you'd pull the masking slider further to the right, and it would affect less areas. Since I only want the ring in champagne glass to sparkle a bit, I'll set the masking value to about 90. And there you can see the ring and quite a bit of areas in the the champagne glass are also highlighted in white. Okay, so I'm going to let go of the Alt key now. And to preview the final changes, we can always toggle our preview button on and off. So hopefully you can see that. You'll definitely see a bigger change on your own screen, depending on your screen resolution. I'll also zoom in a bit here and do that again. So this is before, this is after. Just look at the ring in these parts over here, and also look at the champagne glass around the edges of the glass. Okay, so let's go back to the fit magnification. For the next lecture, we're going to be working with noise reduction. So in this lecture, we added noise. Next, we'll work on removing noise. So just to prepare for the next lecture, please go ahead and open this image here, which is portrait002.jpg. And we'll see you in the next lecture.